actually just about you mastering yourself. And when you master yourself, I promise life unfolds in the most beautiful way. A lot of what people live with is their trauma. And whether it's conscious or unconscious, we've all had experiences. If you're stuck, if you feel blocked, if you want to move forward, I guarantee you there's been an event in your life that has put a pin in it and sort of holding you there, whether you're, again, aware or unaware of it. When I say leadership, it's talking about self-leadership. It's people becoming the leaders of their own lives and not having to have all the external validation and feedback so that people can make choices, so that they can move forward in their lives. What I care about is where you want to move forward to. So I can't imagine not living like it, but with self-awareness, with self-leadership, you will become, it's a byproduct of it. It's the consequence of it. You'll become aware of your energy and you'll start to see how you impact other people.
Welcome to the Champion Mindset Collective podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Dahya, and I'm so grateful that you're here listening or watching this podcast episode. Would encourage you to share this episode with your friends, your family, and your workmates. And if you haven't already done so, please follow and subscribe to the podcast so that you don't miss any future episodes and we can get this podcast episode or the podcast out to the wider community. Today's topic is around as the phoenix rises, so can you. Today's guest is Ema, a leadership mentor guiding each person to live in and on purpose, helping those who want to transition from being stuck to transform their lives, transmuting their pain into power. Ema, welcome to the Champion Mindset Collective podcast.
Thanks for having me here, Anthony.
How are you?
Magic. I'm magic. Yeah, good.
Yeah, you're glowing.
I know. I was looking at that before. We've had a bit of sun in Australia, in Melbourne, which, if you're a sun lover in Melbourne, you get on board and you get out there. So I probably am a little bit glowy because I've been out in the sun, getting a bit sun-kissed. So,
nice.
Yeah, but I think my little ring light is, I don't know.
I'm
looking glowy today, but I love that.
You're shining. So Ema, tell us a little bit about your journey in life and what got you to the point of leadership mentoring.
So people often mistake what I do for business coaching. It is absolutely not business coaching. When I say leadership, it's talking about self-leadership. It's people becoming the leaders of their own lives and not having to have all the external validation and feedback so that people can make choices, so that they can move forward in their lives. And because a lot of what people live with is their trauma. And whether it's conscious or unconscious, we've all had experiences. If you're stuck, if you feel blocked, if you want to move forward, I guarantee you there's been an event in your life that has put a pin in it and sort of holding you there, whether you're, again, aware or unaware of it. And that's what I'm there to do, is not necessarily to pinpoint those moments. I say this with the deepest love and respect for people's past. I've got one, you've got one, we've all got one. I don't actually care what happened. What I care about is where you want to move forward to. Because that stuff's going to unravel anyway as you start to get into your subconscious, understand where you're making your choices from, the patterns of behavior. When you start to do all of that, it's going to bubble to the surface anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I have been in growth, development, expansion, personal development for 25 years. And that's in my own journey as well as in business as well. I was in a previous business before this, more of a consultancy. And so I was working for another company and coaching was part of my role. But it was a really small part, but it was a part that I loved. But I was successful and I was having a great time and I had a team and all the things. There was a but though. And when I was in the coaching and coaching and guiding part of the business, it was like home. So on a holiday, on a run, I just kept hearing the word coaching. You've got to go into it. And so I got back, told my then husband, and said, I'm going to go into coaching. And he was like, what? Yeah. And so I get to, and when I say transmute your pain into power, that's not coming from a place that I haven't lived. Like, I have absolutely lived that. And we were saying before we got on and started recording that there is a point in your life where you know you're complete and you're not going to be activated. The triggers are all, like really loose in terms of you being triggered or not. And there's an awareness that comes with it, because I don't think your whole life needs to be about healing, because you can get stuck in that pattern that's a trauma pattern as well. I've got to heal, I've got to be whole, I've got to fix myself, I've got to. And I was, truthfully, I was stuck in that pattern for a long time because I didn't remember my trauma fully. I had snapshots of it. So when I remembered it, I then was like, oh, I've got to go off and do that part of it. And in 2020, I remembered all of it in a 3-month period.
Isn't it interesting how you don't really remember that stuff, but then as you start working through it, and I guess because you're scraping from the top, as you start getting into the nitty gritty of it, then it all starts to bubble up to the top.
Yeah, there's two things. One, the situation the world was in, and for me, it was actually just wearing a mask. I was never able to. I'm not able to, and because it still activates me because of the trauma. I can do all the healing in the world, and I can do all that stuff. However, there is still going to be a point where I don't like things on my face. And I'm okay with that. I'm good. I don't need to wear one. I'm good. I'm healthy. I'm okay. So, but that's the point that like set me off. And so, and I went from remembering snippets to remembering everything, like moving pictures, the whole thing. So yeah, you can just imagine what that does to a person. I actually ended up having a breakdown. And just, I mean, look, like if it's not the perfect time to have a breakdown, I'll never know, because I could go into a hidey hole. I could sit in my home. I could be with my kids. I could do what I needed to do. And I think you're right. Like, you do etch away at it. And I had etched away at the outskirts of it. But then I was just plummeted into the depths of it at that time. And I'm so grateful that I'd done all the work that I had. I'm so grateful that I spent like doing a course of personal development every year of my life since I was 25, because I had so many tools in my tool belt and had so much self-awareness and knowledge. And I mean, a lot of that's changed and it's grown and I've expanded, but it gave me a really solid foundation to move from and to be able to help people so much more deeply, because I had gone to the deep parts. And I now understand I didn't need to talk it all out. I just needed to go into it, see it, feel it, acknowledge it. And then I could look at all the patterns that come from it and see how I've created my life from that, which was the most bitter pill to swallow. I will share that with you, because we're all the creators of our lives. And what I learned also really clearly is that we're also the creation of our lives. So, being that we're the creator and the creation, it's on us.
Yeah.
I had gone after a lot of the stuff that I'd gone after based on trauma patterns, based on my worth, based on what I thought was my value, all the things, based on what I thought I could be capable of. And so that was like a really once I swallowed it, once I just went, you know what, that's a truth, I was free.
Isn't it interesting? Life can be so simple when you've gone through all of that and you've done the work, you've done the healing, and interesting. My journey started at 25 as well. Yeah, myself.
7. I always bring it down to like, so it's a 7 side, like it's a transformative number. Like 7 is just like about transformation and spiritual transformation as well, I might add. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm quite stubborn though, Anthony, and it was a very slow process for me, I'll be honest.
Well, look, I can totally understand. I mean, for me, it's been in my probably mid to late 40s that I actually started to come to the realization that needed to change a few things and do the work, the healing work, you know?
Yeah, I mean, for me, there had been a lot of healing work done. Being that I studied, I'm a Reiki master as well.
Mhm.
I've also done Pellua healing. And so there's a lot of different modalities that I have, within me that I
Mm.
use in my work. And so I'd also gone down those paths of, energetic release and healing, all the stuff. I'd done all the talk therapy. I've, like, you name it, I've given it a go. Hypnotherapy in there. Like, I've done it all. And yeah, I've got to say, it's what I've learned in the past 5 years because it's freeing. Once you go in and you go, okay, I'm just going to own all of this because it's on me. I can't blame everybody else. Like, yes, we are our own creation, but like, I'm part of your creation at the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're part of my world. Like, we're part of each
Yeah.
other's creations. And
Well, we're
so we get
connected.
to
Yeah.
100%. So being that we're creating all the time, we're creating together right now. So being that, the other person does have a responsibility within the situation, not saying it's, like it's a blame or anything like that. But yeah, once you can own it all and want to see how you create it because of what you believe about yourself, about the world, about other people, man, like I never thought I'd get in my life to ever feel peace. And that does not mean my life is peaceful at times. Like, I've got 3 children, we're doing all the things. I've got 2 kids that drive. I'm the parent that drives with them. Like, I work, all the things, right? That a single parent, so lots of stuff going on. But yet, over the past 6 months, because that's when I can actually tell you it was 6 months ago, there was a moment where I just breathed. It was like I breathed out and went, oh my God, I got it all. I got it all. But that's been coming over the past sort of 2-3 years, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not a day that I don't feel complete peace.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I only have moments of, oh, holy shit, how am I going to do this? And then I just stop and go, well, we just are.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
I've never leaned into that. Yeah. So it's really interesting. Like,
Yeah.
I get it. I
Yeah.
get it.
So would you say that the time that you said to your husband that you were going to go into coaching, was that the pivotal moment where you kind of felt like you wanted to help people?
It's the pivotal moment where I could see the path that I could help people.
Mm.
So it's always been in me. I've always been the person that if you're having a crisis in your life, you call Emma.
Mm.
She's going to know what to say. She's going to know what to ask you. She's going to, and that's not me saying that. That's actually because I've gone after people and said, what makes you call me when you, and this is before all the coaching, and they're like, because I just can tell you stuff and you know what to say. And I walk away going, okay, I've got something to do. I've got something to think about. I can, or whether it's just a cheer squad moment or whatever it is. So yeah, that was the pivotal moment that I was like, okay, now I understand the path for it and how that was going to look. I had no idea. And I went off and did a life coaching. Funny story though. I made that decision and then found a course that I was going to do, but I didn't do it. It took me another month, right? And I was at a trampoline center. I'd gone there heaps with my kids, had a time. And I did this tiny little, it wasn't even a big jump. It wasn't anything. It was just me hopping over a little thing. And I tore my calf muscle in 2 places and it was a grade 2 tear. So what that told me at the time, knowing all the energy work, I'd done a lot of healing at this stage, right? knowing that my feet, my legs, my lower leg in particular, is about energetically I'm not stepping into something. So I knew I was being given a very huge kick up the ass from my team, from universe, to go, get on board, lady. Like, come on.
Yeah.
So that took some healing, but I got home, and once I had gotten over the shock of the injury, because tearing a muscle, look, if anyone out there's done it, drop a comment, and particularly in your calf, it's a high twitch muscle. Oh my God, it hurts in your sleep because you move. So don't ever tear a calf muscle because it really hurts. But it was beautiful. Like I actually, like within about 3 or 4 days of doing that, I sat there and was like, enroll in the course. Let go of the business that I was in. I had to fully let go of it, which I did, which was such a tough decision to just go, I'm walking away from all this. Like I had certainty. I had, like, and then I just leaped. I mean, I would never look back, but definitely that was, yeah. So even though I got that hit, I didn't listen to the whisper. I had to wait till I got a kick to go, okay.
Sometimes you need that kick because you don't come to the realization until you've had that kick
Well,
to wake you up.
I do agree with you to a point. I don't agree with you in the sense that you don't need it. When you are listening, truly listening to yourself, even when you're driving along and your brain is something in you says, go this way, and you're like, no, but I'm heading this way. And you take that road anyway, and then later on you hear, oh, there was an accident, or there was a train problem, or like you found this shop that you'd always been looking for, or whatever it is. That whisper, that's the voice that
Intuition.
that's your higher, that's
Higher
your
self.
super conscious, that's soul.
Yeah.
Having a chat with you going, hey, we know better than your brain, than your conscious. And so, and truthfully it does. Because let's face it, our brains, they don't know fact from fiction. It's got no idea about reality. Like, which I love learning. So, I don't believe that you need the kick. If you're listening to the whisper and you're choosing it, even when it's like, oh my God, this is mental, what am I doing? Like life, I always follow the whisper now. It's very rare. And I take note when I've had to have a bigger voice, the yell, like whenever that's occurred for me, I'm grateful. But I also know that there's that stubborn little part of me that's my egoic nature that's holding on. I know better. No, you don't.
I've learned to let go and just let things happen.
That's part of it, isn't it? Because it's that the ability to allow and to
Just
receive receive the whisper. Just receive the message. And like, to me, it's made my life so much more fun. I have much more laughter. And I feel, honestly, even though I can get a little whisper and it says do whatever and I go do it, I don't feel there's nothing in me that has like oh, this is going to turn out bad. I genuinely go into it thinking, this could be great. Like, like I'm excited and I'm curious, and that's part of being peaceful is you don't get to not feel stuff because you're like, you're not Zen, and a Buddhist monk sitting on, but they feel joy and they have laughter. But it
you
is,
still got to feel it.
we're humans, we have emotions and we're meant to feel them.
Yeah. Totally. So in the process of discovering your purpose, what does that look like? How did it shape your approach to mentoring?
Ooh. So I had previously to, say, 5-6 years ago, I'd taken like what I would consider to be a very masculine approach to coaching. It's very structured. It was outlined. I had a course that people did, a coaching program. They would come in over 12 sessions and we would do XYZ every single session. And whilst that's great and gets people moving and it gets for me, I'm not saying for anybody else, but for me, small amounts of transformation, moving into a completely intuitive approach, and it's still structured. We are still, it's about creation now. So we're still moving through a process because as human beings, we're structured. We have a bone structure. We're structured. Everything has a structure, right? So we have to lean into that truth about being human. So it is still absolutely a structured approach to creation. However, there is a scope for leaning into superconscious, leaning into higher, and understanding that is, let that be your lead. Let that be what's leading you. And through that, we uncover patterns and we uncover how the ego is holding you in place. It shows where you're blocked and, where things are locked up, where you're holding on really tightly. And where you're not being your authentic self, because that's just really what life is about, just showing up and being your authentic self. And so I moved into a far more fluid approach. And there was room for me to be me and to show up authentically, coaching in the way that I want, because it just gave me freedom. And so, look, I still work with people over 12 months, but every single session is wonderfully different. And because as soon as we start working together, we will set up an intentional set of choices. And this is what we're working from over that time, like for you to get that in your life, to move towards those choices. They're not goals. These are choices that you make everywhere. Like, who do you want to be? Because that's the thing. If you're the creator and you are the creation, then life is about who you're being and where you're creating from. Yeah, you're being your authentic self.
Yeah.
And are you creating from a place of feeling good, or are you, pleasure or pain? You
Absolutely.
get to choose.
Yeah. Yeah. And through the pain comes the pleasure as well.
Oh, 100%. And
Exactly. So
like,
people often say that pain is bad, but going through the pain actually then gives you the pleasure of working through the things that you're not being conscious of.
yeah, I think in saying that, people can get stuck in pain, which I put my hand up, two hands, feet, everything up, to say, I really got focused on, I have to move through the pain. I have to deal with all this pain. I have to.
Just got to be. Just got to be.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
And so you have to be with what comes up for you. And then with that being and with that awareness, you can start to discern whether it's truth,
Yeah.
or whether it's just a pattern.
Yeah.
And when you look at
Sorry.
like Bruce Lipton's work, biology of belief, right, epigenetics. I mean, I love it. He just says, like, really candidly, and it's such a truth. He goes, I mean, you could just make up who you are, like, just make it up. Fake it till you make it. If you want to be a particular person and you want to be something in your life, because that's what I do. Like, I'm dealing with beliefs day in, day out. Like, what you
Yeah.
believe, you create from, right? So if you think you're not of value, then you create from not being of value.
Yeah, and they've proven it that, like Dr. Joe Dispenza talks a lot about this, where he says that, and obviously that's come from Bruce Lipton's teachings as well, that, what you think about is what you're going to become, right? And
100%.
yeah, and what you think and you feel and you act on becomes your current reality, because
100%.
because your thoughts are neutral until you give it meaning.
100%. And so I work with and I started to work with a beautiful couple. It's called Natural Success, and this is where a lot of the coaching comes from. I don't necessarily live all the way through on it. I still bring in lots of other elements as well, because I'm a healer. I understand that there is an energetic alignment. I'm not really here for your healing, though. I'm here for your alignment. So I like to be clear about that with people. It's about aligning you within your body. and getting rid of what's not aligned for you. So yeah, there are different elements that come into it, but I worked with a beautiful coach, and it's in natural success, and that's a lot of the structural stuff, but that's exactly what they talk about as well. You are the master creator of your life, and it's your beliefs. But I will share this with you, and I've known it for a long time, but I heard it explained really beautifully, because your conscious and unconscious are never really in present tense. Like, they're just not in present. Like, your conscious and unconscious are quite often forward or back, or, you know, not really present, right? But your subconscious,
Conscious is in the present all the time.
the subconscious is always in the now.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you're telling yourself, like if you're saying, oh, I would love to be successful, your subconscious goes, I could give a rat's ass about that, because that's not in the present. I don't care. Tell me something that's now. It doesn't.
I'm successful now.
Yeah, I'm successful. And your subconscious goes, so what'd you say?
Yeah.
What are we? Right. And it pays attention. So it's about the language that you use as well, isn't it? Like,
tell me about it.
I'm so for language, and you know, I get right into it because I love it. And it's also about the vibration of words. Like, I get really excited because I'm so curious, and I'm childlike about it when I'm with anyone and they say a word and I can feel it. I'm like, ooh, what does that mean to you, that word?
Yeah.
And I love what unravels from those conversations, because people don't often pay attention to how a word feels to them.
It's just a word. They just think about it, but they don't actually.
Well, they're just not just saying it. Just say.
Yeah.
And it just goes along with it. So, you know, like, that's when you become the creator of your life, you're really intentional.
Yeah.
And because you've got to be intentional about your thoughts, about your words, about your feelings.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people think you don't have any control over your feelings, but you do.
Yeah.
It's not control, it's awareness.
Yeah. It's interesting. I was listening to a podcast where I can't remember who it was now, but they were talking about the word thinking. So not thinking, trying, and
Oof.
right. And trying is a way of manipulation, right? And so I was catching up with a friend for a coffee, and I said, "So how's the business going?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm trying to make it." And I'm like, "Are you trying or are you doing?" And he was, "Oh yeah, I'm trying." I'm like, "I'm sure you're doing."
So this is one of my favorite. I'll probably get it tattooed on my body at some stage. I don't really like words. I've got a lot of tattoos, but Yoda, and this little guy didn't say it, but Yoda's one of my, I don't have a Yoda here actually. Anyway, do or do not, there is no try.
Do or do not. There is
no try.
Try. No.
Do or
You
do
either
not.
do or you don't. Yeah.
You're either doing it or you're not.
Be, do, and have, right? Be the person you want to be, do what that person would do, and have what they would have.
I love that. And that's the thing. So we get to decide who we are. So when I started to really understand that I am the creation of my life, like, yes, I'm the creator, but I am the creation as well. Who do I want to be? And yeah, what do they do? What do they eat? What do they read? What do they watch? What do they say? Who is that person? And I'm not saying I went out and said, I'm going to be like, I actually got it down to values. You know, who do I want to be? And yeah, I want to be curious, and I want to be playful, and I want to be wise. Like, that's, you know, like, I'm Yoda. My kids say it all the time. And so, you know, there's values in there for me. And who's that person? How do I, you know, who's that person? Who are they being to be that? I'm successful. So then I just need to talk as if I am. Not saying, I don't mean, let's say you're in business and you know, you're lying to someone saying, oh, I'm doing X amount per year and I've got this many, whatever it is. It's about, you've got to still be present with yourself. And so how is your life successful right now? And that's the part that you keep stepping into, because that's the part that your subconscious goes, oh, yeah, we are. And so it'll keep doing things around that and being that, because it doesn't. doesn't know any better.
Yeah. There's a thing I say to my clients. I say, before you go to sleep, when your brain is in theta mode, brain waves, write down 3 things that you're grateful for, and 3 questions that you want to ask your subconscious mind to answer.
Mm.
And I said, watch it go relentless while you're sleeping, and you'll get an answer to it either the next day or that week. But
I totally agree with you. I have a practice of writing my gratitude list because I make my choices in the morning when I wake up. I do an energy check-in. I check in with where's my focus for today, and then I'll check in with my choices and tune into those, and so that keeps my attention focused on what it is I want to create.
mm,
And where am I creating from? So at night I do my gratitude list, and I write a list of 10. And then I've got this beautiful heart-shaped crystal that sits next to my bed, and I just pick one. Like I just sit there going through my day of all the things that I feel blessed about, and I pick that one. And so as I'm going to sleep every single night, I go to sleep thinking, I am so lucky. I am so blessed. Like my life is so full of everything that I love.
mm,
And what's been what the thought that I've been waking up to recently, and it's just organically happening, is everything good happens all at once.
mm,
So everything all at once is all good. I was
mm,
like, oh, that's exciting.
mm. Yeah. You
And
know, yeah, I was listening to a podcast episode today where this guy was talking about how, you just got to keep being consistent and doing stuff. And he says, like he was talking about money, but he says the money will come. And in the book Think and Grow Rich, it talks about when it does, watch it, just just arrive type thing. And so when you're feeding your subconscious mind that all that positive and all that good stuff, it can't but make that a manifestation in your current life. So
because
it's going to happen.
that's what you're looking for then.
Yeah.
So when your focused attention is what it is that you want to create,
Mm,
and things that you love, then that's what you see in the world. So more of that shows up.
mm,
It's like when you want a red car, want to buy a new red car. What do you see?
exactly.
You see red cars
The
everywhere.
cars everywhere. Yeah.
So it's absolutely that. However, I do want to say, because I think it's really important, I think it's not about positive thinking. It's not about every thought I have is positive, because our clients will often say, well, what happens when a negative thought comes up?
Mm,
It's about acknowledging it, going, oh, okay, is that what I want to be thinking about though? No, but you've got to acknowledge that it's coming up for you. You've got to
mm.
acknowledge that it's in there, because you can't change something that you're not aware of.
No, something's triggering it to come up. Yeah.
Well, it can also just be a pattern as
Yeah.
well, because I have
That's
patterns
right.
of stuff like something will
Yeah.
happen and I go, oh, and then I can feel myself going down that little garden path, and at the minute I'm able to pivot and go, no, 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 no.
You just reframe it.
That's
Yeah.
old version.
Mm.
Thank you very much for showing me that. I get that she's still around, she's still hanging around. However, we're in new version now, and
Yeah.
I'm not available. I'm not giving that any more of my time or attention. You've
Mm.
had enough. You've
Yeah.
had your 10 seconds of fame.
Yeah. You've been upgraded.
Yeah, 100%. I
Yeah.
was saying that before the show. I've had a huge energetic shift and level up,
Yeah.
spiritually, emotionally, everything. And over the weekend, I literally I just did my very bare minimum, and then I just sat. It was like my body went, "Can we rest, Mama? Can we just
Mm.
rest?" I went,
Yeah.
"Okay."
Because we are shifting our identity every second, every minute, every hour, every day.
You
Right?
choose it.
Yeah.
You get to choose that.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about now. You get to create who you want to be.
Mm.
You get to create who you are.
Yeah.
And you can run off the normal program. You can run off all the things that have happened to you. You can keep that, all the things that people have said to you, that they've told you about you and told you who you are. You can keep running that program.
Mm.
And I wish you the best of luck, and I hope that you find peace through that. And that's not me being sarcastic. It might sound that way, but I'm not. It's truthfully, I wish people the best of luck if that's the path that they want to go down.
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
However, we know a different way.
We do. Yeah.
a different way. And we know that there's more, and we know that there's this beautiful peace that's available to us, and love of self-respect. Like, oof, there's so much more available to us. And in the relationships that you get to create from that space, I don't know about you, but I can connect to someone like never before.
Mm.
Because I am me and in my authentic self and doing what feels the most truthful to me in any given moment, I receive that from other people consistently, and it's
Yeah.
poured into me. And I just, I get to connect so deeply, and it's soul filling.
It
You
is.
know, I lose
Yeah.
time consistently in conversations because
Yeah.
I know, I now have relationships, business collaborations where we have to set a timer, and I've said that. I'm like, listen, because we could keep going here, but we need to focus. We need to stay on the path
Yeah.
and move forward with the business collab. So for that reason, I'm like, right, timer. This isn't a free for all. And because I could lose so much time talking to them and creating with them, and it can be amazing, but it's okay to have, that
Yeah.
boundary around, hey,
Yeah.
let's just keep our focused attention.
Yeah. You got to
Like
be.
we could meditate all day for hours at a time and have a great
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Exactly.
Mm.
So Emma, I'm curious. What is your view on in living in purpose and on purpose mean to you, and
So
why is it essential in self leadership?
I think it's just essential in living, but in self-leadership,
Mm.
because living in purpose, meaning living in your life's purpose. And when I talk about that, it is really just simply, not just because it's not a mere thing to live authentically.
Mm.
It takes a great amount of focus and willpower to do that. So that's what in purpose, living in purpose, like live authentically
Mm.
in what you have chosen to come into this beautiful human form to do. Whether
Mm.
that's to have a gazillion children and to, dive into that beautiful mother state and do that. Mine is definitely a combination of not only nurturing and guiding and growing and being a mum, but it's also in working with people and serving really deeply.
Mm-hmm.
But on purpose is about intentional living, is about where you focus your attention. So you are on purpose making choices every moment of your life.
Mm.
That it's not just, oh, I just eat that or I just do that. Or, for me, living on purpose is not doing the same exercise every day,
Mm.
because I'm not designed that way. Some people are, but I'm not. I'm designed for variety in how I move my body. And so for that reason, I need a lot of different things that I do. But for others, it could be I just go to gym all the time. But that's an on-purpose action. They're actively choosing a
Mm.
healthy path. So
Mm.
for me, that's exactly what we're talking about, though. You are the creator of your life, and you are the creation. So on purpose, in purpose.
Mm. Mm. And if someone's feeling like disconnected or stuck, how can they start aligning to their purpose?
It's really simple to say it, and then to do it is,
Mm.
where the work is. And that is just make choices that you feel good about. And I don't
Mm.
mean make choices like to harm other people and whatever else. Like, your feel good choices are not going to hurt anybody else. They might annoy them because you're making choices that don't actually support their life anymore, that you're not doing everything for them anymore,
Mm.
and that you're doing things for yourself and making choices that are right and best for you. But that's probably the first thing that I would say to anyone. Do your choices. Is your life feeling good to you? And,
Mm.
you got to, that's a tough question to answer, because you have to be really honest and look around and go, no.
Mm.
Like, there were so many aspects of my life that felt great to me, But, leaving my marriage was a tough choice because we'd been together 18 years. I really thought, this is it. Here's my person. But it wasn't feeling good to me anymore. And I don't mean because, it just wasn't feeling it. That's what I mean by on purpose. Like, I was making choices about him and not me. So, yeah, that's one of the toughest ones. But it's the most simplest path to take because it's your authentic. If something feels good to you, it's for you.
Yeah. Now, we've talked about authenticity. We've also talked about choices that you make that feel good to you. I want to delve into, and this is not on the question list, but
But I read it.
Yeah. So
let's tell your listeners the truth. I didn't see it and I didn't read them. So we went in.
That's all good. but I'm just going with the flow here because I'm quite interested in your view on energy, vibrational energy, and living in your life in a way that the energy is going to serve you, right? The energy that you're putting out, the people, and the way you lead your life. Could you tell us a little bit about your view on self-leadership, but in terms of the energy that we put out and the vibration and how we attract things in our lives?
Yeah, there's a beautiful book, and she had a stroke of insight. Yes, got it. Amazing book. And she actually talks you through her stroke, like through the whole book. So you actually get this inside information about how her brain started to melt away and disconnected. Wow. And so basically she was, she was in a still state. She couldn't communicate. She couldn't anything for quite a long time. And what that did for her was helped her understand other people's energy. So she would know who the doctor was, who the nurse was, who anyone was coming into the room over a period by their energy. And so when she first came to, she was then able to put a face to the energy. And so for some people would walk in and she'd be like, oh, I don't want them. No, she feels heavy and this and that. And then she met her and was like, whew, like, okay. And so she says in there, you need to be responsible for the energy that you bring. And I read this probably about 15, closer to 20 years ago, and it blew my mind because I had no idea what energy I was bringing. And the more I became self-aware and became aware of my body, how it was feeling, what I was doing, how I was showing up, because self-awareness gives you the ability to be aware of other people and your impact on them. And I don't mean that to change your ways or to do something different because you're making someone feel uncomfortable. Look, I'm here to activate the crap out of people. That's how I get you to go, to transition and to transform your life, right? So that's part of my gift. However, so I'm not going to stop doing that because you feel uncomfortable. That's what I'm here for. But I was leaking my energy to everyone, which meant I wasn't being responsible for how and what I was creating. So if I was in a bad mood, that energy would pour out onto people. If I was having really dark thoughts, because I went through major depression at one stage a long, long time ago, but those thoughts, that energy was leaking out onto people. And so people didn't want to be around me because they couldn't, or they would feel sorry for me and they would, there was a whole bunch of stuff happening. So your energy, everything is energy. Everything around us is a form of energy. So, and it helps you communicate and connect and relate to other people. So I can't imagine not living like it, but with self-awareness, with self-leadership, you will become, it's a byproduct of it. It's the consequence of it. You become aware of your energy and you'll start to see how you impact other people. But you know what it's like. You meet someone and you think, and you shake their hand and you think, yes,
good energy. Yeah.
I want to hug you. I've actually watched people walk across a basketball court and looked at this woman and thought, we're going to be friends.
Yeah.
And a few
I,
months later we met, and there was no forcing, there was anything, and we became really great mates.
yeah. I actually went on a date once, and this lady said, as soon as we sat down, she says, I love your energy. You've got such amazing energy. And I'm like, "Oh, really?"
And look, I get that a lot, except when I was leaking. I get it so much now
Yeah.
that, but when I was leaking, and I could leak
Mm,
excited energy as well, which is a lot. So some people couldn't be around me because I was just like, I was this big ball of excitement when I was excited and happy and joyful. And I was leaking that onto people. So even that vibration, it
yeah.
pushes people out. It's about containment. It's about
Yeah.
balance. It's about
So people,
understanding.
so
Mm.
people that may not know what leaking energy is, could you explain what that means?
When I talk about leaking energy, it means you just have no personal awareness to how you're impacting other people.
Mm,
Like you have no personal responsibility. So, and that's really what it boils down to, because once you start to choose to be fully responsible for your thoughts, for your words, for your emotions, for your actions, right?
mm,
Then you will actually start to become aware of your energy as well,
mm.
and how that's, because I will say a word and I can see how that lands on somebody else. So when you're leaking energy, like no awareness around it, no responsibility, you're not going to see how it lands, or you're not going to care.
Mm.
Because
Yeah. And
here's
so
the
what?
thing, with you
Yeah.
leaking energy, you will also absorb everyone around you.
Yeah. Because you're open to, yeah,
Well, you've
exactly.
just got no boundary, you've got
Yeah.
no
There's no
awareness
filter.
of it.
Yeah, exactly. So people that are, say, going through that fear, anxious state in their life, and or that moment, and they're leaking energy, what's a way that they could, um, you know,
Yep.
stop, or control that? So not control, but I want to say control, but how could they,
I,
you know what I mean? Like
mm.
contain it. Let's put it.
No, well, I understand what you're saying, and it's a really simple process, and it just takes. And I would say, if it's something new to you, you need to ground. Take your
Mm,
shoes off, go and stand outside. If you are in a highly anxious state,
mm,
um, then I would get as much as your body, as much as you can of your body on the ground. So whether
yeah.
that's legs, arms. I've been in such states in my life that I've actually lifted up my top and like just lied on the ground,
Mm,
because
mm,
the back is. I mean, obviously your spine's a huge conductor of energy and life force. So it would be to ground. Take your
yeah.
shoes off. Even if it's just going up and touching a tree with your hands, or putting your hands on the ground, if you're not in a position to take your shoes off, at least get your hands on the ground and breathe.
Mm,
Like,
yeah.
slow down. You breathe in for 4, hold, breathe out for 4, hold. And you build up to a point where you can breathe in for 8, hold for 4, breathe out for 8, hold for 4. And honestly, after a minute or so of doing that,
Yeah.
you will be calm.
Yeah.
And in those moments, that's when you can start to go, oh, I can actually feel my body calming and my energy slowing down. And it's not just
Mm,
about your breathing, but you actually feel yourself back in your body.
back in your body.
There are
Mm,
much more advanced ways that I would go into that with clients. However, for the purposes of someone never doing it before, that is a really, like, if there is a parent listening to this with a child that experiences anxiety, please get them outside, please
mm,
get them grounded, and please get them breathing.
mm.
And then ask them to have a look and find 3 things around them that are present, that are right now, and they can describe them.
They can see, they can hear, and they can
They
feel.
can see whatever it is, and they
Mm,
can describe them to you. And then a really beautiful question at the end of all of that, once if it's an adult, child, whatever it is, ask them what they're grateful for about it.
mm. Yeah. I've got this really amazing walking meditation,
Mm.
and this lady, she's done it so well, and she's got music playing, and she's kind of just calmly talking you through it, and then she gets to a point where she says, now, 5 things that you can see, 5 things that you can smell, 5 things that you can feel, and and then she counts it down, and it's quite good. It goes for like probably about maybe 30 to 40 minutes, but I used to play that on loop as I was walking to the beach and back for an hour walk. But the other thing, I like you said, I'd get up in the morning before I made my coffee. I'll go outside and I would stand on the grass in the sun, and then just stand like this and just let the sun
Mm.
soak me with vitamin D and the rays of the sun, and I would feel completely grounded. But the other thing I do is when I wake up in the morning, obviously when I'm lying in my bed, I do gratefulness with my eyes closed. And that's again when your subconscious mind is open at the alpha state of brainwaves. And so I do gratefulness, and then I do a grounding exercise where I visualize myself leaving my body, going, and my legs become a channel that go into the center of the earth. And I go down this elevator into the center of the earth, run across this bridge to this opening where there's ocean and mountains and the sun. And the
Mm.
sun then comes and burns my current self off, and I regenerate into my new self. And then I run back out and go back up the elevator into my body. And that's a really cool, like it only takes 30 seconds, or
Yeah.
not even 30 seconds, but I've got so good at it now. I can do it within like 10 or 20 seconds. And and I feel great afterwards. I feel grounded. I feel, really but yeah, there have been many times in my life in the last few years where I was anxious and fearful and coming from a place of lack and scarcity, and breathing was definitely something. Meditation, breathing, going for a walk, connecting with nature, and grounding,
Mm.
absolutely.
Yeah. I
Because,
mean, conscious breath. Sorry. Go.
yeah, no, no, I was just going to say, often it's either those patterns or the triggers that you're from your childhood, and your child self is crying out, saying, "I'm feeling scared," or you know, and it's really just calming your child self, being the responsible, because you're the adult in that relationship with your child self. You're saying it's okay, we're going to be fine.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's a complete energy shifter. I mean, I do get to the point where I can, the minute my feet hit the ground, um, and that's what I would say to anyone. Make sure that you can feel that tingling, that you can feel the energy in your feet, so that you know that you're grounded. Like your body's letting you know, okay, we're grounded, and wait for that point. Like wait to feel that little buzz, like it, whatever it is, but wait for that. I do it most mornings. As soon as my feet hit the ground, even as we're talking about grounding now, my feet are like tingling. Like
Mm.
it's the minute I hear the word, I'm like, oh, right, that's all we do. I'm grounded. It's an automatic thing, and I really think it's life changing to do it
Yeah,
every single day. If you've never done it, go off and do it, and I guarantee you, after 30 days of doing it, you'll feel a difference.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right, I've got one more question, then we're going to go into the quick fire questions.
Okay.
So now I've listened to a lot about work-life balance,
Mm,
and I kind of listening to someone recently on a podcast episode that I did. We talked about work-life harmony, because
mm,
you can more harmonize, but balance has to be equal, right? So it's very hard to have a work-life balance in my mind. So how do you help people that you coach or mentor really have that work-life harmony in their life?
it's such an individual thing, to be honest.
Mm,
Like the thing that I do with each client is I'm handing back the power to them.
mm-hmm,
I'm helping them remember how powerful they are.
mm,
So your life, work life balance will look different to mine. I mean,
mm,
I effectively work every single day, in different parts of my business, and I love it,
mm,
right? I don't need to have, but I also don't need to be in there for like 8 hours a day and all that kind of stuff. But there isn't a day that goes by that I am not in some aspect of my business, whether that's client, whether that's market, whatever it is, and I love it. That's not work life balance for other people, right? It's just not. So, and that's okay. I think it's when you're living authentically and living in a truthful way for you, that's that's never anything that comes up in my coaching and mentoring. It just doesn't. Like,
Mm.
it's not, because very quickly each client learns that that
Mm-hmm.
is just a term that is used in our current world to, I guess, make people feel better about their
Mm.
lives
Mm.
and their choices. But I've got people that are like me, work 7 days a week, and
Mm.
I've got clients that have worked, would get up at 3, 4 in the morning and work for 4 hours before their families get up. But
Mm.
they're like in it, they're loving it, like that's for them.
Yeah.
And others that, like, it's finding what is truthful for you.
Mm.
And so if you are needing to work in and that's your passion, that you are working in that normal 9 to 5 framework and, the 5 days a week, it's about finding, what's truthful for your family and what's
Mm.
good and best and right for them. Because
Mm.
that can be, I know clients that do that as well. They're passionate about that. They love what they do. They're in it. They love that time at their workplace. And then they get to go home and they get to love what's going on there too.
Mm.
And so for me, that's the balance, is having that feel good energy, that feel good focus in all aspects of your life.
Mm.
Mm.
That's good. Yeah. Awesome. So, Emma, if people have been listening to this episode and they are interested in getting in touch with you or learning more about what you do, how could they do that?
So you can head to my website, which is Ema Muir, and it's 1M, EMAMUIR.com. And everything is on there. It's got the coaching aspects, the mentoring, it's got the group stuff. There is also the healing. There's also a page called More for You, because I've just written an ebook called The Path to Peace.
Oh, yeah.
Can't see it. And so you can download that. There's a few books on there now, actually, but that was and that's really about living authentically and feeling good. And it takes you through my journey, essentially, but in the practical sense. Like, not all the stories, a little bit of snippet of stories, but that's a great way to be introduced to what I do. However, if you know that you're ready now and you're in a transition stage, then connect with me
Mm.
and shoot me an email, and we can set up a free 30-minute meet and greet, so to speak, and see how we align and go from there. But definitely head to my website. That's
Mm.
everything is there. It has got the social links through it as well. So it means that if you want to connect with me via LinkedIn or TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, you choose the medium that you want to connect with me over, but the website is definitely the pathway.
Awesome. Thank you. What we'll do is we'll put the links into the podcast description, show
Thank
notes,
you.
and people can click and do that. So there you go. If you've been listening to this podcast episode or watching it, I encourage you to connect with Emma or myself. And I'm running a 5-day challenge on the 25th of November 2024 till the 29th. And it's all around, if you've been going through change at work, if you're going through some level of restructuring and you're not sure how to navigate that change, you're not sure how to communicate, you're not getting the clarity that you want, you're feeling a bit stuck, or you're feeling like you're not worthy of finding another job or whatever, I'd encourage you to click the link in the podcast description and register for it, and join me on that 5-day challenge, because you're going to get some value out of that. And if you haven't already done so, please share this episode with your friends, your family, and your workmates. And also, there's someone that needs to hear this. And make sure to follow and subscribe to this podcast. And lastly, I just want to say, actually, before we do that, we're going to go and do the 5 questions.
Before we do that, can I just slide in and say that to the listeners, the person that you thought of when Anthony was saying share it with your friends, that person that came to your mind, share it now with them, because that's the person. That person that came to your head that you thought, oh, yeah, go share it with them now, because that's the
Yeah,
person that needs to hear this.
absolutely. So here we go. I completely missed out the questions. That's uncanny. It's not like
I
me.
love it.
Yeah. So here we go. How do you define success, and has that definition changed for you over time?
Changes every day.
Mhm. Absolutely.
For me, success is defined by, am I living my truth and in my true nature, my authentic nature.
Awesome. Who's been your greatest inspiration and why?
My children,
Mm.
because they grow and expand in amazing ways, and they inspire me and challenge me every single day to be the absolute best version that I can be.
Absolutely. What is something that you believe in that others may disagree with?
That you're the master creator of your life, and you are responsible for everything that happens.
Absolutely. If you could go back and give young Emma a piece of advice, what would it be?
Yeah, you've got all the answers, kid. It's okay. You don't. Yeah, you actually you know the right way to go. Just do it and have a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. Have fun. What's one message that you'd like to share with the world?
Being you and true to who you are is the absolute most important thing that you can do, because it's not about you mastering everything else in your life. It's actually just about you mastering yourself. And when you master yourself, I promise life unfolds in the most beautiful way.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Emma.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So there we go. That's now a wrap of the podcast. So yeah, be sure to share the podcast episode with whoever needs to hear about this. And if you find us on the social media, please share this episode on the social media and tag us in so that we can see the comments and interact with you. And lastly, I just want to say you are loved and you are worthy. Champion your life and champion your greatness. Have an amazing day.
Mwah. Thank you.